So let's start with this one loop here, which is we've got. Cool. So I'm going to just create a new track underneath here. So I'll create that new track and I'm going to pop this in. Now it should go in time. It's 1, 2, 4. So let's just double check, saying it's 1, 2. Let's go recomplex. Now this should be, so it's 1, 2, 4. So I think, yeah, look, we're going to have to move that to 1, 2, 4. I don't know why it's done that, but moving it to 1, 2, 4. Yeah, I think it was 120. Let's put it back to 120 and then let's see. So that's something to look out for. It said it's 1, 2, 4, but it's actually 120, the original tempo of that sample. First thing I noticed when I popped it in there though, this is from the loop, from the filtered disco loops that I have in here. It's one of those filtered disco loops here. Not sure which one it is. Oh, a DT disco loop. It might be from something else, but you know, this is my thought process behind this. So let's go back. I found that disco loop. Now, what I've noticed is it's a bit low, as in pitch wise. So I've thought, right, let's pitch it up. I've got to put it on complex here. Let's do some pitching. Let's start up. I want to get some high content in it, and this is a great way of doing it. Pitch it up. Suddenly it's a bit more up, isn't it? Okay, so then I thought, right, well, that's really good as a disco loop. Brilliant. You could, of course, sidechain it to really get it to sort of pump in the track, which is what we've got over here. I'll take the sidechain from here just so you don't need to see that again. Again, if you want to know how to sidechain, copy these settings here. It's the Live 8 compressor, 10:1 ratio, fastest attack, release at 30 milliseconds, EQ on, sidechain, high pass at 800 Hertz like that. Just copy this exact setting and then take the audio from the kick. And now. Cool, so that's my starting place. That's where I started from. Now, if you want to, you could go ahead and find the key. So let's now add a MIDI piano. We'll go straight for Dan piano. Piano and keys, Dan piano. And let's do our little trick again. We've seen me do this in other videos, but if you haven't watched any of the other videos and you've come straight here, this is the process. So I'm going to make a little part here. I'm going to drag it out and I'm going to find the key. I'm going to find the sympathetic note that fits with this sample. Sorry. So, in my mind, brilliant. So now we've got the basis of our track. It goes with the beats. Of course, we're not looking at beats in this. We're just looking at melodics. That's your hook sort of starting place. You can see here, I've cut the sample up. The reason I do that is because I didn't particularly want that incessant looping sample. I was more interested in then trying to find an extra melodic element that could work with it, and for that I needed some space, I needed some gaps. Anyway, the next sample I found was this one. I'll go back to this samples and folders. This is from my filtered loops. Now, this one, the two don't go together, but we can try and transpose it. Let me just solo that and solo this and show you my thought process behind it. Let's just try and pitch these. I'm going to pitch this filtered loop. I've got to put it into complex first. Catches me every time. go back up one. Oh, it keeps going back to repitch. I forget that's... Really, what I wanted was that vocal. Ah. So I'm listening for that. The vocal, because I can chop the two up. Ah. So that's what I'm listening out for. Two up. I've gone two up. And if I check here, over there, look. Ah, it's up one. Oh, -1. Let me try that then. Let's try going down -1. Okay, so that's another option. You can go -1 or 2 up. Let me check where this sample is. You got +4, yeah. Cool. So I've gone -1. So then, in terms of cut-ups, let's start looking at it now. Let me sort of emulate what we did over here. I'll put that there. So what I've done is I've chopped out on this disco. We'll work on this one first, and we'll do it just over a 4-bar period as opposed to the full thing. I'll get rid of the browser as well so we can see this a little bigger. Take off the automation. So I've cut out that. Like so. Always like to leave it in case it's a mistake, and then I can just unmute it. Okay, so I've cut out that. I've cut out that. And we get this. Let me get rid of this filter loop here and that one. Gap. So then I can put something else in there. So look, I'm getting rid of that bit. That's the sort of like messy bit for me. There's the one there, and then we can go there as well, and even get rid of that, I think. Cool. And what's beautiful about that is that I can go between the full sample, which is what we do here in the breakdown, and it suddenly becomes snappy and a little bit more punchy and less sort of incessant, and leaves space for an extra part, which is what we're going to be looking at in future videos coming up.